Welcome to a conversation on paper route with one of the the fastest man in the world right now, and he's only getting faster. And I don't even know if he entered his prime yet. Brandon Marshall here, sitting down with Noah Lyles, the fastest man in the world. What up, brother?
What's good?
And I'm so excited about this conversation, and there's so many directions that we can go. We can talk fashion because you are probably the best dressed athlete or artist that we've ever had on the show. Like, I was shocked. I was shocked when I walked in and I saw everything, and you ain't even got you still missing a few pieces.
Yeah, I took off a few pieces.
You took off a few pieces, but they'll be able to see on the photos. I want to jump right into this, man, because like I said, there's so much that we need to dive into. We will dive into, but we're going to start here, okay? So my first question for you is this. Did you watch Team USA play for the bronze?
No. I didn't watch it, which is funny because my massage therapist actually works with a lot of the basketball players who are playing in, the World Championship for that title. She actually works with the French team a lot, but they got eliminated pretty early.
Right. So obviously after the World Athletics Championships, you came out and after winning, being the first, track star to win the 100 and the 200 since 2015, Usain Bolt, right?
Yeah.
And so first off, congratulations there.
I appreciate it.
And that
Thank
was
you.
big. But we got to get a little messy first, right? What made you think about saying that? Like, why was that on your mind, to discuss, like, what a real world champion is, right?
Yeah. It's always funny when the media gets a hold of things because, they want to clip things and run their story. Because if you just look at it from that standpoint, it's like, why did that even come up? But the question that was posed to me was, how does it feel knowing you're going to go back to the U.S. and, basically nobody's really paying attention to track and field? So, here I am, and that's kind of the end. Where they clipped it was the end part of the discussion. I in the question, I dive into, how it hurts. Usually you don't get paid attention to the Olympics, and being a track athlete living in the U.S. and trying to run and build your career, you start to get this idea that you're only cared about for 4 years and you're in a dying sport. But then when you go to Europe and you're a champion and people are taking care of you and they're giving you hotel rooms for free and everybody in the city recognizes you, like, you don't get none of that stuff here, not in the U.S. It's, it hurts,
right.
And then you watch a sport that is very publicized and loved. And I love basketball too. And, then they put world championship on their hats, or even with football, it's a situation where it's like, guys, you have actual world champions and we are ready to do just as much work and show our journey and all that, but we're just not paid attention to. So it hurts.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I kind of played into I walked right into the media trap. And that's one of the reasons why we created this platform was for, us athletes to sit down and tell our stories, because the media, they'll put out the sound bites or they'll put a headline out there, right? Sensationalized. And that's what everybody runs with. And there's been so many times where, I've said something, but they'll take a clip and then that soundbite goes and it lives in this crazy world, right? So that's interesting. My question for you is this, though. Like, were you surprised when all of the NBA stars stood up and pushed back on you? Were you expecting that type of reaction?
No. And the reason why is because I've said this multiple times before. It's not until now that they have paid attention, heard, or even seen what's happening.
Right.
So, here I've said this multiple times, and now it's all of a sudden blowing up. I didn't hear that this was going viral until the last day of World Championships. I'm celebrating. We went out to the club, and my phone is starting to blow up with my friends, and they're texting me, and they're like, "Yo, what's going on? Like, you got the whole NBA on your head right now." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I put on my phone. I'm just like, oh, just a few basketball players,
Right.
like whatever.
Just a few.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, KD's talking, and then you got a few others, and then,
Draymond.
Drake.
Drake.
Drake. Whose man's is this?
You a character, bro.
But at the same time, it's like, wow, okay, they actually heard something. And of course, it's not the part that I wish they heard, but it set up a situation where a conversation could be had. And a lot of people were like, well, what's the conversation? The conversation, I think, is perfectly spelled out with the Stephen A. Smith situation. He comes on, calls me blatantly ignorant, and he, puts what his opinion is.
Right.
Then he comes back, his Boris Kojo, basically lights into him, as he says, and really informs him of how the world sees world championships and how the U.S. is very easily giving out world championships just because the rest of the world doesn't play the sport that we're playing. Not to say that we're not the greatest at it. And we have amazing and probably the best in the world ever for that sport. It's just that you can't call yourself a world championship if you don't face the rest of the world. And I thought that it showed the view of America, what happens when somebody is able to teach someone else, and what happens when someone is teachable. And then, to be honest, being man enough to actually say, I'm sorry, I apologize. And that means a lot because it's hard to apologize in front of millions of people who probably listen ear to ear on what you're going to say.
Right. So can you see the other side, though? Because I do understand what you're saying, right? But can you see what, a lot of the NBA guys and some other, people with platforms that chimed in on or saying about the NBA, right? Like if this is the greatest, if this is the greatest league and it has the greatest players, right? Like, why wouldn't we be world champions?
If, say, you have a competition and you're playing for the title of the best in the universe, and only Earthlings show up because nobody else knows that there's a best in the universe competition happening, and it's happening on Earth, can you call yourself the best in the universe?
I get it.
And I do understand that, we have the best players. And to be honest, the Olympics prove that we are the best league or we have the best players. But it's just that the fact that only in the NBA national, you get the national title. Right. As soon as we go to the Olympics, you win the Olympics, you're a world champion. 100%.
So, and we'll move on here, right, because there's so much to talk about. But, did you feel validated when, they lost?
No.
No?
I already knew I was validated when I said it. It's not an opinion. It's a fact.
You do know.
To the NBA situation. Yeah. Just the NBA.
So you probably didn't see this, but we had this debate on our show as well.
I did catch a clip. Right. I did catch a real small. Yeah.
You saw that.
I did.
Because I agree. We're not world champions.
Yeah.
It's a fact. It's black and white.
Yeah.
Right. But I would say, I would love to see, because it was sad to see us lose and not compete for gold, but I would love to see, our best of the best players.
I agree. Right? I also would love to see it because we are.
Yeah.
We have the best players, truly.
Well, that's debatable too, though.
It is debatable.
Let me tell you why it's debatable. Because if you look at the last few MVPs in the NBA,
they have been, they've been international.
They're international players. And Kobe said this back in 2008. It was like, look, we're sleeping on the rest of the world. They're catching up. They're playing really good ball, sound, and they get it. They actually play better ball than us. So, it's debatable.
It is debatable. But I feel that we can create the best cohesive team. I feel that we have the ability to. Right. Whether we are going to put our best foot forward or not, that's for them to decide.
Do you feel, now moving on, do you feel like those comments, do you regret those comments because, it seems like those comments was overshadowed by such a phenomenal moment and performance for you? I think that was your fastest you've ever ran. Was it 9.83, was it?
9.83, yeah. It was the fastest I've ever run in the 100, yeah.
Right. So do you regret that, and do you feel like your moment was overshadowed? Or, because I'm looking at it too, it was like, man, the whole world was talking about you.
No, that's how I see it. The whole world was talking about me. And yes, I worked really hard for those 3 gold medals. I'm one of 4 men to ever do it. But
phenomenal.
Being able to say that the whole world was talking about me, my mission in my sport is actually to transcend the sport and hopefully take it with me.
Right.
But if nobody's hearing and seeing, it's hard to do that. So I could think of it in the way of, wow, nobody's, paying attention to the achievements that I've done. Or I can see it as everybody's paying attention to me right now. It might not be for what I want, but I can take advantage of this situation.
Right.
I have a docuseries that just came out on Peacock. Push that. I have a YouTube channel that's constantly, updating. Push that. I'm going to track meets in this moment. Every time I have a track meet, push that. You know what I saw when I saw that the U.S. did lose? It's not that, they lost and I'm happy for that. It's that, okay, people are talking about my name again. What should I push next?
Right.
And what I decided to push next was that I'm getting ready for another track meet in the U.S. So hopefully people now understand that I'm actually competing here.
When and where? I'm
competing in Eugene on September 15th.
Where the hell is Eugene?
Eugene, Oregon.
Okay.
Oregon Ducks, University of Oregon. Hey, no, it's okay. But that leads to another issue of our sport,
right,
that we are running in these random places.
Right. So go ahead, go deeper.
So we're running in these random places where people can't understand, because people get excited. Everybody in their mama has run track and field at one point.
Right.
So they're excited and they're like, yeah, they just saw me or Sha'Carri or Christian Coleman, who else won world championships, and they're like, I want to go see them now.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, we're going to be in the U.S., but how would they know that? How would they know if we aren't marketing or targeting the right demographics, which we really struggle with in our sport?
But is it for you? What is entertaining about track and field for the consumer and the fan that wants to come and watch, right? So, because women's sports, you can say, is in the same boat, right? Women's sports, it's like, why aren't we getting the same opportunities, or why aren't you guys coming to support us? And there's some people that say, well, it's not the same. Not me. Some people say, you got to be careful. Some people are saying that it's not the same game or it's not that entertaining. So when it comes to track and field, why would we travel to Eugene, or even if it was in Miami or New York, why would we travel there, right, to watch? What are we getting? What's the product? And if the product isn't right in your mind, what would you change to make it more appealing and attractive?
So the product that our sport has, well, from my opinion, the product that our sport has really been trying to sell is, we're the fastest of the fast. And don't get me wrong, that is very entertaining. It's for anybody that I've ever brought to a track meet, they have watched it and been like, this is amazing from a professional side, because the college and high school can be a little long. But from a professional side, they're like, this is amazing. Being front row, watching someone run as fast as they can, or breaking a record, or seeing the environment. Like, being at a track meet, people are banging and jumping on stands, cheering these athletes along, and then you get to see records be broke. Like, records get broke almost every track meet. Yeah. And that's not to say that these are easy records. It's just that that's how hard we are truly training every year.
Right.
And you just constantly see the fastest human being be created.
Right. Wow.
In other sports, in basketball and football, you see teams, you see stories, they're being made. It's great. But in track and field, it is truly, nobody can dispute that you are not the fastest. You are truly the fastest. And you can put numbers to each one of them. There's always going to be a LeBron versus Jordan conversation. In track and field, there is no Noah Lyles, Usain Bolt conversation. Right. It is Usain Bolt's faster, but Noah Lyles is the third fastest human to ever live. Now, that can change in a few weeks or a few months, but that's the exciting thing. It could change.
So let me ask you this question. What's the most exciting event in track and field?
Personally, it's the 100.
I disagree.
Oh, which one?
It's all of the field events. So triple jump, high
really?
jump, long jump. You know why?
Why?
What I love about it is that's the one event, or let's say the long jump or triple jump. Jump. That's the one event, right, where I can get the whole stadium rocking.
With the clap.
Yeah, with the clap.
With the clap.
So, listen, obviously I had to do my homework on you.
Yeah.
You didn't do your homework on me.
I didn't.
I won the state of Florida in 2002 in triple jump. And I won the Golden South.
You won the Golden South?
I won the Yeah, baby. Triple jump. Yeah,
So
baby.
The thing is, they don't have that meet it's not as popular as it used to be. It's been kind of dying out.
Right.
But that's a huge deal to a lot of people. And a lot of people don't actually know that even in our sport.
That's right.
That is a huge deal that you won gold in South.
Yes, bro. And the reason why I brought that up, not really to talk about me. Yo, Pop's over there. Not really to talk about me, but I know what you're saying. To me, that was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had in sport was when I was in high school, right? And it was being able to go out there and it's like my destiny is in my hands.
Yeah.
Football, I got 53 other dudes that I'm counting on. Basketball, 12 to 15 guys, right? In track and field, yes, we want to win the whole meet as a team, but also as an individual, I can go out there and PR every single meet. I can control my own destiny. Yeah. And I love that. And the reason why I say it was the most entertaining, and I'd love to get your thoughts on the 100, but for me, bro, like going into the wide world of sports, like Disney's track event,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
and I'm just sitting there and I'm just, it's all eyes on me, and I get the whole crowd going, and then go. Man, there was no other feeling like that, bro.
Yeah, it really sparks that adrenaline that it's not something that you can get from many other places. It's addictive.
Yes,
that's the worst part. It's addictive because what you'll find is you're chasing that feeling, and sometimes you'll get it, and sometimes you won't because you're constantly moving the bar.
But bro, you got to understand in the triple jump for me, and even a long jump, I wasn't really good at the long jump. I did triple, long, high, and I did the.
What you jumping high?
6'6" was my highest jump. I was
6'8".
Yeah. For you, 6'8"?
Yeah, 6'8".
6'8", bro. I was at Disney when I was attempting 6'8", and the difference between 6'6" and 6'8" is it's all mental, but it's huge.
It is.
So I did 6'6", boom, I cleared it.
Yeah.
And then they put that thing to 6'8", and I looked.
You looked at it.
I said, oh.
And it's way over your head, and you're like, you want me to get over that?
Bro, I knew when I looked at it, I said, there's no chance I'm getting over that. There's no chance. That's the only thing I've ever, like, before I even attempted, said I have no chance of being able to accomplish.
So, and you're right. It is a huge mental thing because I've seen people smaller than me hit that height,
bro,
at the time. And I was like, no way. Like, that's crazy.
Because your form, everything goes out the window. Like, I mean,
you're building up speed and you're literally running up to it and you're like, oh my gosh, here I go. I'm going to, nope, can't do it.
You know how I learned how to high jump was, I was in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
And I went to the library and I got an old VHS. And I watched it.
Yeah, and studied it.
Yeah. And even the triple jump, and we'll get back on track here, but I love triple jump because, like, you know, I'm marking it, 84 feet, boom, had this, da-da-da. And we're talking about, like, you got to hit that board, like, perfect.
And it's such a small board to hit.
Yeah. So why is the 100 the greatest event for you?
I think,
or most entertaining?
It's the most entertaining.
Yes.
Because there are 3 events that the world of sports of track and field really cling to. The 100 meters for the title of world's fastest man, the marathon for the longest runner, and then there will be the decathlon for the greatest athlete, the title of greatest athlete. Those 3 events have titles to them, and you can't really take those titles away. And everybody wants to be the world's fastest man. So here you have the 100 that will earn you the world's fastest man. And it's not like other events. You're not staggered. You're not, pushed away from everybody else. You are clumped into these 8 lanes. And you've had to get through 3 rounds. You are now facing the entire world, and you are fingertip to fingertip. The amount of pressure that goes into your head. I remember I was listening to an interview with Fred Curley, who was the 2022 world champion. Here in the U.S., in Eugene, Oregon, is where he gained the title.
I know they're going to flame me for that. Right?
It's okay. It's okay. Right. It's because you're learning. You're learning.
Right.
Learning
he said, about America.
Yeah, exactly. It was in America. And he said that crowd was so loud that it took him out of his focus. Like, that's how intense people want to see this happen. So, yeah, you are now, the destiny is in your hands. You have to create this moment. And when I have moments like that, a lot of people will be like, how do you not let the moment get bigger than you? I'm like, get bigger than me. This moment was created for me.
Wow.
I was made for this moment. Everybody here is here to help me write my own story. And that might sound a little egotistical at times.
No,
but
it's
that's
not, though.
the way
It's
you have to
not.
think when you're in this sport.
No, I don't think that's how you have to think when you're in this sport. I think that's how you have to think as an athlete. Like what you just said to me made me think about the first person I thought about was Kobe Bryant, like the Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Right? Even Usain Bolt. Right? Like some of the greatest, Serena Williams.
There's a few points in my career where I lost the feeling of being nervous. One of them, I was in high school and I was trying to make the Pan Am junior team, and I was going up against, the best in the country. These were high school and college kids, because there's an age group. It's under 19. So, these are people that I hadn't raced before, and I'm just I'm racing in the 100 in Eugene, Oregon. Okay, so I gotta explain this. So Eugene, Oregon.
Why everybody keep running in Eugene?
Because it's the track. What is they call Tracktown USA.
Okay.
It's Tracktown USA. This is the place where track and field was like truly like born. It's where Nike was born.
Correct.
So it has a ton of history in track and field. So they always have track and field meets here, right. And they're always packed out. But here I am running, and I'm like, shoot, I'm got to have to pull something out of myself that I've never done before. I'm feeling the buzz, the nerves. They're coming on, the intrusive thoughts. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe it won't get done. And then I just have this one thought, and it's just like, no, I can do this. I'm gonna will it to happen. And if I don't, who cares? But I promise you, I will not go out there and just let it not happen, because I've worked too hard for this. And from that point, that is how I've thought of everything. And then I get to 2021, and I go into the Olympic trials, and I ran the 100 in Eugene, Oregon.
Go ahead. This is great.
And
can we please schedule a track and field event in Miami, Florida, Atlanta,
There's no
Georgia.
Track. There's no track.
LA. We can build a track.
No track.
We can build a track.
Who?
What do you mean? A track costs $400,000. Adidas?
No. Who? It does not cost $400,000.
How much?
Most tracks cost about $1 million easily.
Adidas got it.
They got it, but that's not where they want to put their money. They're soccer.
But just imagine from an event standpoint, if we go to Atlanta, Georgia, and we seeing you and Miss Richardson.
I agree.
And then all of the Jamaicans.
I agree.
Running.
I agree.
I
agree.
I agree. We talking.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I agree. And that's why.
But finish.
We'll get to the
We'll get to business.
So I get there, and I'm Olympic trials, and I feel like it was the first time that I ever choked. And I was like, how did this happen? And I was going through depression at the time, and I was just coming off my antidepressant medication, but I was like, this still shouldn't have happened. And from that moment on, I was going to run the 200 later that week, and I had a breakfast with my mom before the 200 finals, like I always do. And she said two things that really spoke out to me. She said, your greatest is so good that even on your off day, you're able to beat everybody else. And then she said, why are you worried about this moment that God has created for you? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, you are in the perfect place at the perfect time for this moment. This moment is not bigger than you. It was created for you. Wow. And from there on, I'm just like, okay, yeah. No matter what track meet I go into, no matter how I feel, every moment is created for me.
Wow. Bro, you are my most difficult sit down. My most difficult. We don't interview people. We have conversations. That's what we do.
Yeah. I love conversations.
And the reason why is because I study in this phase of my life and in my career, right? Like playing 13 years in the NFL, and now I'm, in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. So I'm studying Oprah. I'm studying, Ellen DeGeneres. I'm studying Bryant Gumbel. I'm studying James Brown. Like some of the most, talented human beings in front of the camera and interviewing. And one of the things that they do extremely well is they listen, right? And so just listening to you, there's 100 different ways we can go. Like now you bring up mental health, you bring up mom, and there's so much to pull from. So that's why I want to let you know.
It's difficult.
But it's good though.
Yeah.
Because just sitting down with you and having this conversation sometimes it's just hard to be able to sit down with people who can't tell their story, don't understand where they're going, and it's just amazing to hear your story. So wanted to say that, but
I really appreciate that.
You brought up mental health. And let me say this, and I'm being choppy now, but I say that because there's 3 things that you already said that I'm trying to get back to. Like, I want to get back to, you brought up, world record, and I'm like, okay, all right, how I'm gonna put that back in is like, well, you brought up real world record. Do you ever see Usain Bolt's record fall in 1919?
Then 9:56.
9:56.
9:58. 9:56.
9:50. I got it right here.
9:58.
9:58. But then you also brought up something about like events, and then I want to go through something there. But then you just brought up mental health, and to me, like in 2000 and everyone who's probably watching this, half the people, heard my story. In 2011, I spent 3 months in an outpatient program, right? And so everything that I do, bro, pushes towards that message. So 1, how are you doing now? And 2, I would love to hear a little bit about your mental health and your wellness journey, right? And this is why we're in-house of Athlete.
I appreciate you for, telling me about my ability to speak. It's again something that I work on. Just like how you're studying, I also study to constantly be able to tell my story better, and I actually help other athletes to try and tell their story. But my mental health journey probably began when I was actually born. I was born with chronic asthma, and I basically spent from, since I first could remember, probably till about 8 years old, in the hospital, on the breathing machine, sleepless nights, coughing all night. If I got sick, it would mix with my asthma. It was a battle. It was a true battle. And it was probably my first one. And, here I am dealing with it in the earliest stages of my life. And it was the first time when I realized that not just because you're in this part of your life doesn't mean that's how it's going to stay the rest of your life. And my mom had to teach me that. So here I am learning that at an early age, and it's kind of, helped me throughout my whole career, because later on I learned that I have ADD and dyslexia. That didn't make school very easy. Right. It actually made it extremely hard, not just from trying to learn, but also, basically being bullied that you can't learn just like everybody else. And then going through a school system that wasn't made for my way of learning or my way of creatively building off other things. And it wasn't until I got out of high school that I realized that my ADD is a strong gift that everybody actually wants, but doesn't realize they want it. And all it takes is, recognizing what it is, then being able to have the skills to use it.
You can break that down if you want to. That's another profound thing that you said. But you just want to scamper over it.
The problem is because we still have.
I just can't with this
guy. The thing is, we still have to get.
I knew I'm never going to finish this interview.
No, you're not.
These profound things.
You're not, because I knew you put 45 minutes on it. I was like, you're gonna need 3 hours. Because this happens every time I have an interview with somebody. They get shocked, and then they're like, "This conversation could go on for hours," and it could. It truly could. But I'm skipping over a lot of things because I'm trying to get to the main point. Through all of that, from the age that I was 9, I have been in therapy, whether that's play therapy, social therapy, or actually just sports therapy. I have been in it, and even now I have 2 therapists. So when you ask me how I'm doing now, I'm doing great.
That's good.
It's not how I felt my other world championships, because other world championships, when I came out, I was depressed. I was sad because the high was so high. And to get to that moment, it took so much exhaustion from my body that I couldn't enjoy what I had done.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after the Olympics where I finally realized why this was happening. And I was able to create boundaries with not only my sponsors, but the media that I was doing and how much load I was trying to take on onto myself. Then being able to bring in my family closer, take out people who were not adding but subtracting. Right. And of course, learning about myself, because I always explain therapy as you are only there to understand yourself better. And once you understand yourself better, that's when you can understand the world better.
So I'm going through like this shedding. I'm going to try not to cry here, but I'm going through like a shedding moment. And I'm doing yoga every day, yoga and meditation. and I also have a therapist still. And one of the things that I do in yoga, actually, we do, like it's a whole exercise, but we do a lot of affirmations and writing. And one of the things that I wrote just a few days ago was, or my yoga instructor, she's like a therapist, she wrote down, she said, your life will be determined by how well you understand yourself. And that's what you just said.
That's crazy how
that's right.
happened here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. Really quickly, can you break down why you said that, what some people may call an impairment is actually
a gift.
A gift.
So, problem solving is something I believe that people with ADD and ADHD do extremely well. And you don't realize you're good at it because in traditional American school, you were taught to memorize. And that's very hard for someone with ADD because they're constantly just thinking about the next thing and they're living in the now and they're probably problem solving everything around them. So if I'm sitting here, yes, I'm having this conversation with you, but I'm also thinking about the next 3 conversations that we're probably going to have and where I might think you might branch off to. Problem solving. When you get into the real world, that's all they want you to do. They want you to be able to solve these things at quick paces, or they want to know who's going to be the next guy who comes up with the next best thing, or who's going to be the guy who thinks outside the box. I call my agent probably once a day, every day, to have an hour-long conversation about problem solving every problem in my sport, in my home, where I want to take fashion, where I want to take my career. And then I'll hang up and then call my mom and do the same thing with her. Like it's just constantly problem solving in my head.
So you just talked about calling your agent and, you brought up solving problems in the sport, right? And this is one of the things that we wanted to go back to when I start talking about Atlanta, blah, 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 blah. You're just looking at me. I read it. So what's the solution there when it comes to the business around track and field?
The problem with the business of track and field is there is no business. These are nonprofits, and they are treated as such. Track and field started off as clubs. They were club groups. When you think of Carl Lewis's era, they were all track and field clubs. And it just so happened that one club would have a more popular or faster athlete. So that athlete would be invited to a track meet, and eventually that athlete started saying, I'm bringing in all these tickets, you need to pay me. So then they started paying him. Then they started getting shoe contracts, being like, I'm bringing all these people in TV attention, you need to pay me. And then we just kept going. But eventually it kind of just stopped. The growth kind of just stopped because we were still in that club mentality. Everybody's in a club. Everybody only gets paid for the big moments. And that's really what they see as, what our sport is doing. But the problem is because we only get paid for those big moments, we only show up for those big moments. A lot of athletes will forego the normals part of the season to make sure that they're going to be ready. And when I say a lot of athletes, I mean the Sydney McLaughlins, the Thing Moos, the Mees, the, Fred Curleys, the athletes that everybody wants to see on TV will forego to make sure that they're healthy enough so that they can perform on the big stage so that they can stay and have their paycheck so they can survive. If you look at basketball, football, tennis, golf, they have their regular season. And of course, they can all go to the Olympics, but that's an afterthought because their sport supplies them with the ability to stay here, play, compete, and still keep a normal job, a steady income.
I.e. the NBA. Our best players aren't playing because they're making all their money.
Exactly. For what reason do they have to go?
That's right.
And it's a business. It is a business at the end of the day. Technically, all track and field athletes that are paid by shoe contract are contractors. They're not hired. They're contractors for that brand, meaning that they can be taken on and let go very easily.
Right.
So we can't, when athletes talk about unionizing and stuff like that, we can't even technically do that because we aren't even employees. We don't. Yeah, we got 1099s. We don't got W2s. It's and that's something that a lot of the athletes who are in the sport can't even think about because they're just trying to get food on their table.
There was an event, I saw it on social media, where it was somewhere where it was like at night they built the track.
It was
recently.
In the street? Or it was in a park?
Yes.
That was the Adidas boost. That was the Adidas Atlanta City Games. First time that we did it. Sponsored by Adidas.
You were there?
I was there.
So remember, I just brought up Adidas.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, bro. When I saw that, I think it was on Instagram. I said, "Oh, that's dope."
Yeah.
That's dope. So I think about like that. Like, to me, that's an opportunity.
It is. Problem is, it's a free opportunity.
What do you mean?
We were not paid to go there because it doesn't generate enough revenue.
Well, it doesn't generate enough revenue now.
You're right. And that's
but what I saw is I see the stuff on ESPN or NBC. Mm-hmm. It's cool, and I love it. I'll watch the biggest moments.
Yeah,
I'll watch the biggest moments because I ran track.
Yeah,
so I want to see.
Yeah,
but that made me want to come. Right. So now, how do we create a business around that?
I agree.
That was phenomenal. That was dope.
I agree, and that's what makes me excited because we've had that meet in Boston for years. And this is the first time that it's been moved to Atlanta. And I'm like, this is amazing. It's in the middle of the city. It's surrounded by people who love the sport. It's in a major city, which does not happen a lot for our sport.
And it was at night.
And it was at night. Lit up. Yeah. But it's going to be happening again. I believe May. It's going to be happening in May of next year. And I will most definitely be there. Yes. I will tell you that. But it does. The only issue is that I feel that we, as in track and field, get very complacent. So say if this meet does, start to revenue and generate money, what is the next step?
Okay, but let's first talk about the money and athletes, because you said you guys didn't make money last year.
We didn't make money from that meet.
So to me, that's the opportunity, right? Like I'm looking at Adidas right now. Is Adidas event?
Adidas is sponsoring a track club to put it on.
To me, it's rev share with our athletes.
So every Adidas athlete who went there ran for free because
they were already paid.
They were paid to show up because in our contract we are told there are some meets that we just have to go to.
Right.
Because we're contractors.
Yeah, and I'm literally. This is now we're in conversation mode because I'm thinking about this, and it's like if I'm Adidas, right? I want this to go. I want this in LA. Mm-hmm. I want this in New York. Mm-hmm. I want this in Miami, Houston, Dallas, even Nashville.
Yeah, and that's
Charlotte can work. Paris, London,
and that's the thought process that I constantly have running in my head.
And so now, like, because when I saw that, like, I'll bring my kids to that.
Exactly.
I want to come to that, but for it to work, my athletes need to be happy and they need to be taken care of. So to me, Adidas has a huge opportunity here.
I agree.
But they need to do the right thing. And it's not just Adidas, obviously. You know, I love Adidas. I love the brand. You know what I'm saying? But, this is a huge opportunity for them. And I know they probably see it. But like how we're in this watershedding moments in sports where all brands, all leagues need to start understanding how powerful we are and respect our voice. And so hopefully they're listening to conversations like this and putting our athletes first. If you put the athletes first and not the fans, put the athletes first, the fans will follow, which means the money will follow.
Yeah. I've recently met the new CEO of Adidas. His name is Bjorn, and he's a great guy. And he is truly an athletes first person.
Right.
And I truly believe that under his guidance that we will see an Adidas that is really going to be excited to help the athletes as much as possible.
Right.
And not to say that they haven't already been doing that, but it's hard to jump out of your comfort zone And right now I feel a lot of brands have been in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I've been really trying to push them out of it, or at least Adidas.
Do you feel alone? Or is it lonely?
Sometimes.
Is there other athletes standing alongside of you, track and field athletes standing alongside of you, pushing this?
There are athletes who believe in the same thing. The issue comes when we are reminded that track and field is an amateur sport. There is no line for what is considered professional. A high schooler can run in a professional track meet if he knows the right person.
Wow.
And it happens all the time. And because of that, we all have different aspirations of what we want to see change in our sport. So you'll have the little guy who just wants more money. You'll have the middle guy who believes that he should be in more meets. And you have the higher ups like me who are trying to make the biggest changes on the biggest stages.
Wow.
So we all want change, but we all struggle to find how we should change it.
And it's hard to bring it all together because it's a nonprofit, not a for-profit, and you can't unionize or bring the collective together.
Exactly.
And work on the collective.
Exactly.
Bro, when I travel, and I'm saying this humbly, right? But people have rocked with I Am Athlete globally, and it's humbling to me. And one of the biggest questions that the question I get the most is, "Yo, B, what's your favorite interview?" Fat Joe, Kyrie Irving. I say Kyrie Irving. He don't sit down with KD and maybe one other person. That's it. He ain't going no ESPNs, no FS1s. Yeah. You know, Kaepernick, Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne rerouted his whole plane to come here. Like, think about that. That was a $40,000 loss on his part.
Yeah.
He's coming from Ohio. I don't know where. I think it was coming from Ohio or something. I don't know why Lil Wayne was in Ohio, but he was flying back to L.A. He forgot that he said that he was going to come join I Am Athlete, turned it around, and came here. Fat Joe was phenomenal. Styles P was phenomenal. Bro, I can go on and on. Cam Newton was phenomenal. Rick Ross was phenomenal. And it's been extremely hard for me to say who my favorite conversation was with. And bro, like right now, without a doubt, I can say it's been you. Like,
I really appreciate that.
Yes, 100%, bro. Like, I'm just like blown away by like your genius, and I don't throw that around like lightly. I'm blown away about, you know, by your you know, your fashion, your business sense, you know, and how you communicate. It's just unbelievable. So I wanted to say that.
I really appreciate it.
Wanted to give you your crown there.
I really do.
Yes, and 100%. And it's like, then this freaking guy comes in and he's so fly. Like, Ocho's fly.
No, he is.
Lil Wayne was fly.
No, he was. I was watching Lil Wayne, and you know what's crazy? I stood in my closet for probably about an hour and a half, changing 3 different outfits. Like, gosh, what am I gonna wear today?
And I love that. I love that because that's intentional. So you basically knew, like, oh, I'm going on I Am Athlete platform, so I got to come fly.
Oh, let me show you how intentional this was. I actually probably made a decision that I missed out on. I was going to create an outfit solely on one hat because that one hat I had made back in April that said 3-time world champion. And I had my family wear it every time we were out at world championships and I won a medal. I make sure that the camera was facing them and they all saw the hats because I can't wear it because while I'm running for USA, I can only wear Nike USA apparel. So I have to use my family to get that done. Wow. And thankfully, they were very willing to help out.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But now, you know, I'm back in Adidas. You know, I was going to wear the hat today, put an outfit on that matched the hat, and then while everybody is watching this and be like, oh, I want to know a Lyles hat. Well, as I go to Prefontaine in Eugene.
Go. Finish. Go.
I'm gonna drop a link where people can buy the hat.
Right.
So now they've seen the hat on, almost any other interview I've done that didn't have to do World Championships. They've seen it on your platform. I'm gonna go on the Today Show. I'm gonna be going on Saturday Night Football. And they're just gonna be seeing this hat all the time, and they're like, yo, I want this hat, and now they'll just be able to buy it, and that's again the ADHD just constantly on 100.
So right now, I want everybody that's watching this to hit the link below and go to our brother's platform and buy this hat. Support it. Like, we got to continue. We got to support each other, because we're the ones that's going to reinvest in our communities. We're the ones that's going to hire people and create opportunities, job opportunities. And we're also going to be the ones to support you guys, right? So support is critical. So hit this link below to get this hat. Brother, like, now that leads me to business. I wanted to go into fashion, but now we went business. You see what I'm saying about
they
listening?
working it tangibly.
So talk to so basically, I'm gonna give you the floor. I want you to talk to me about fashion. I want you to talk to me about business, because like I said, you're the flyest in my mind. I vote you number one overall as the flyest to ever sit down on paper route, I am athlete, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Y'all want to debate me? If y'all want to debate me, y'all can debate. So you're the flyest, but also, I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur.
And I love that about you. Yeah.
And so I want to hear about that as well. I want to hear you talk about that as well, because like, bro, like it's clear as day that, you're so savvy and you know what you're talking about.
So I'm going to tell two stories about fashion, because my stories run long. My first one is how I got into fashion. As a kid growing up, I did not care about fashion whatsoever. Right. I was the boy running around on the playground with the ashiest skin in the world. You might have thought I was white.
Right.
And I'm going through high school, still don't really care about fashion. I don't care what type of shoes I got as long as I can run in them. I don't care what type of jeans I got. I had dad jeans before they were cool. I did not care whatsoever. Here, I turned professional out of high school in 2016. I am now just training in the middle of Claremont. I don't know if you've been to Claremont, Florida.
I used to train there before I got to after my first couple of years, I used to train there.
So it's a retirement town.
That's right.
Yeah, there ain't nothing out there.
That's right. But you guys.
But us.
You guys.
But us. And I am 19 years old. So what do I do with all this free time? Because all this other time used to be school and then practice. Now I just got practice. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to go to the mall. Mm-hmm. Me and my brother just start going to the mall. You go to Millennium Mall in Orlando. Yeah. And they got two sides. Right. So the first side, we're just on that one side. You see H&M, Guess, Macy's, Foot Locker, all the stores you're expected to see. And then you realize there's another side of the mall. You start walking over and you see the Prada, you see the Balenciaga, the Louis Vuitton, the Saint Laurent, the Guess. And you're like, oh, okay, what's this? It's like, I've never been in stores like this. I walk in, I look at a price tag of a shirt. The shirt said $200 for a white T-shirt. I walked out.
Right.
Walked out.
As you should at 19.
Yeah, because I just came from a household where we were fighting bed bugs and keeping the lights on.
Right.
So paying $200 for a T-shirt was absurd to me. Months go on, I keep shopping, and I start realizing that I want to create my own style. I'm a creative at heart. I like to create. So I decided that fashion is going to be another outlet for me to create. And I'm, just going on websites, trying to find my thing, going on Pinterest. I'm on Pinterest probably every day.
Right,
just studying different people, studying what I would take from them and, evolve. And eventually I start finding my style. And that's, basically how I got into fashion, not as a way to show off, but a way to show my creativity and my expression. The reason I changed my outfit today and it didn't go with the hat, because I didn't feel that it reflected how I was feeling. And I didn't feel that I felt that if I wore that, I was going to be happy when I saw this interview. I was like, that's not how I felt at that moment. And that's the excitement that I wanted to show, because the outfit was all black. I didn't want to show all black and
and just lean into
grooming.
business.
Exactly.
It was business.
This,
like, that's how I want to fit.
Yeah, I want to be versatile. And that's what when I wear outfits like this, I feel versatile.
Fly.
I appreciate it. The second story I'm going to tell is how I mix business and fashion. For years, I have watched GQ, Vogue, and any other fashion page post NBA players, football players, WNBA, even sometimes golfers in their flyest outfits before they walk into their games. And I'm just like, this is great. I love seeing this. Not only do I get to connect with the athlete, but I also get to connect with their style and what they might be thinking and how they feel when they're going into a game. I want to be able to do that. Wait a minute. Why am I not on there? Wait a minute. Why is there no track athlete on there? Even at the Olympics, the biggest event in the world, and it's still not on there. I'm like, right. There got to be something to that. I'm like, well, somebody got to create this. I have to create this, because even though some people might have the same idea, they won't commit to it. And I don't know what that reason is, but I've realized that we have had Instagram for over 10 years now, and we're still not doing it. So that means that the idea has probably definitely been thought of, but it has not been committed to.
You know why?
Why?
Because Noah Lyles hasn't done it. No, I'm being honest, bro. You are the catalyst, bro.
You're right.
Like like, look, I'm not gonna get emotional here, but like, you're phenomenal. And do you know who you are?
I do.
You do. Who are you?
I'm Noah Lyles. I'm a child of God. I'm a creative. I was built on this world to change it, and I was built on this world to help people realize their own gifts.
So, do you see yourself in the same? And look, I'm not in this world of comparison, but I like to study other people because it kind of gives us a blueprint to follow. Mm-hmm. But when I think of Jay-Z, I think about you in that space. When I think of Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Tom Brady or Serena Williams, I think about you. Do you think about yourself that way?
Every day. I always talk to my girlfriend, and I'm frustrated
because that goes back to what we talking about fashion. It's
yeah.
Like, I look on Instagram and I don't see this.
Yeah.
Like, that's what
representation.
Who's gonna create it? To
exactly.
me, is you.
Yeah.
We talk about the business around track and field. Who's going to create that is you. Now, that's a lot of responsibility.
Oh, I've already started. All of 2023, starting from January, I have a great connection with NBC, and I have a great connection with my agent, who is a meet director. I said on January, I can't remember the exact date, but it was late January, and I said, when we start this track meet, we need to have a walk-in. We need to have a tunnel walk. And he loved it. And I said, we're going to grab, 5 of the most popular athletes, and we're going to tell them, you guys bring your outfits. We're going to have the camera be watching you. Went off without a hitch. NBC loved it. We go to the next meet a week later, do the same thing. We go to indoor championships. Do the same thing. People are loving it. I'm now going on my social media and posting fashion. Now, for those who are, trying to build their brand, they know that your followers like probably 1 to 2 things. Yeah, and that's whatever you do.
They want to see your action shots.
Exactly. But they loved the fashion.
Right.
And now NBC has come to me and they're like, we want to aid you as much as possible. I'm like, great. I need more help doing this. Now I'm trying to get more athletes to get into it. And what's funny is that I will go to a lot of track meets and I'll be like, hey, guys, we've had great success here. If you just give me a place to change, right, a vehicle, and let the athletes and a walkway, we can set this up at your track meet. And it's like, no, we're not really feeling it. Okay. I'm going to do it myself. But I want to get y'all into this. Right. Because now I'm already past this year. I'm now in the mindset of, okay, if we start putting in walkways with fans that can see these athletes come in, not only do we increase the energy of the athletes, but we also show off the power of our sport. Then we show off that to a company who wants to get involved and say, hey, your brand could go right behind here. All of a sudden, they're now paying to get these top logos in these areas.
So I asked you a question about like who are you, right? And you say I'm Noah Lyles, child of God, boom, 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 right? Can we add disruptor to that?
You could add disruptor.
You're a disruptor. You're an innovator. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, so now we talked about the athletes, but when we talk about Steve Jobs, we talk about Steve Stouts, even Jay-Z out of the hip hop world into business because he's two different people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He is.
You know what I mean? Because you got to think about him as the businessman. You talk about Elon Musk. You talk about Mark Zuckerberg, like disruptors, innovators. You know, think outside the box. And that's why I asked you earlier, do you feel lonely? You know, because I see a lot of myself in you when it comes to the business side of things and looking at the sport from different angles, right? So let's add that disruptor, innovator.
I love innovator and I love disruptor because sometimes you got to get a little nasty with it.
But even that, what you said, like a lot of athletes will be, oh my goodness, I'm not going to say, you know, the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
there's this fear for sure.
They're not going to say that. I don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
You didn't probably, like you said, I didn't even think that KD and all these guys was going to respond. Drake?
Yeah.
Drake?
Like, I didn't expect that. Drake. No. But you asked me if I feel lonely. And no, I don't. But I'll tell you why. And, you know, I know we're getting close to the end. But
No, keep going.
I'll tell you why I don't feel lonely. When I was early on in my childhood, I want to say middle school to high school, my parents got divorced, and me and my brother are 1 year apart. We moved with our mom up into Maryland, and that was the first time I feel like our family had to be each other's keepers. You know, we had to watch each other's backs for everything, and we became very close. And while we became very close, we also learned each other's skills and abilities, and we were taught that everybody has a skill and everybody has a weakness. And that knowing how to help each other in those weaknesses while also being able to praise each other's gifts is how you form an impenetrable team. And as I grow and as I reach for new heights, I don't feel lonely because I don't look for the outside world to be my security of how I should feel. I look to myself and I look to my family who I've grown with, and my friends who I decide to keep close because I know that they believe in the same thing. So when it's time to celebrate, yes, it's nice to have the cameras there and it's nice to have the fans there, but I know that there's still the media and fans. And just like any other time, if something goes bad, they might leave. But I know that my family will always be there. And they are always going to have my back. And they're always going to call me out on some things because let me tell you, just like how I'm talking now, I could be in a bad mood. And my mom does not like when I'm in a bad mood because I get very ornery and I get very sarcastic and it's not uplifting. And I have my team to be able to call me out on that because putting people down and, you know, having unacceptable moments is being human. But you need to have people who you can have an ear to be able to call you out on that. Yeah.
Well, accountability. And that's what athletes love. And look, bro, I had a list of things I wanted to hit. I wanted to talk about, like, you know, where the sport is today. I wanted to talk about, you know, Usain Bolt. I wanted to talk about, like, will his record fold? Because I thought that could, you know, put us in a conversation where you're talking about, like, yeah, I'm going to break it. Right?
Oh, I am going to break it.
I wanted to talk.
Oh, I'm definitely going to break it. It's just a matter of when. Because world records are not determined by when you're ready, but when all the pieces are ready. Because I could be fit, but the wind could be not helping me. It could be in my face or it could be too fast. The competition could be not right. The crowd could be silent. You know, the daylight might not be in the right time.
What did your mom say?
Which time? Oh, the moment. The moment is never bigger than me. It was created for me.
So that's why you believe you'll break the record.
I just believe I'm going to break the record because I'm the most talented and I'm the most smartest working. There are a lot of great athletes who've, you know, reached the top. But something you find when you actually find the best is not only are they talented, but they don't take it for granted. They are constantly going to push the boundary of what can be achieved. When you have an athlete who realizes they're talented and, you know, don't really want to work as smart as they can, you miss out on what
they don't reach their peak performance or their full potential.
But I want to see what that is, and I truly believe that on my journey to doing that, I'm going to break the world record.
But isn't that a big difference between 9.83 and 9.58?
Oh, of course. But I had a dream that I'm going to run 9.41, and God has gifted me with the power of prophecy. So I know that that's going to come true.
Yo, so
I'm sorry. Every dream I've ever had has come true. If God has given me, who am I to discourage?
But some people are going to watch this. No, some people will watch this or hear this soundbite, just like your ass got caught up in a situation where you talk about the world championships and world titles, whatever, and they're just going to be like, "That's cocky." No, like, we have to appreciate what we're in front of and what we're witnessing. And then also we can learn, right? Like the ability to speak, life over ourselves, self-talk, positive self-talk, creating the world that we want to be in, curating the world that we want to see. We're seeing that. Our greatest athletes are showing us how to do that. And so I was going to say, like, bro, like there's, I brought up Usain and even Miss Richardson. Like, I wanted to talk about so many things in sports, but this is why this platform was created, was like, we don't get a chance. Like, of course, everybody want to talk to you about Usain Bolt. Everybody want to talk to you about, oh my goodness, you are the first track and field athlete since 2015 to win the 1 and the 2.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same stuff. But when do we get to hear Noah Lyles talk about fashion, to talk about business, to talk about mental health, to talk about just performance. We don't get this space and these opportunities, bro. And when I tell you the flyest that I sat down with, when I tell you, bro, it's the best conversation I ever have. Bro, like, for real, seriously. And I want to do something, man. Like, I got this I Am chain on.
Yeah.
I'm not in position to do what I want to do. Every athlete and artist, because I study, I'm like, that's why I said, like, I see myself in you. Every athlete and artist that comes on our show and go platinum, that goes gold, to go diamond, I want to gift them with something. It's like, we're doing numbers.
Yeah.
We boom, 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 boom. And I want to be able to give them. So my way of doing it, instead of giving them the plaque that you see artists get, is to give them a chain.
Shoot,
right? And this is diamonds.
I'm not even in a position to do that yet.
I'm not in position to do it.
But I truly believe that you will.
I will be, for sure, because I'm just like you.
Yeah.
I already see the $1 billion. I already see the 400 million. We making $1 billion, not because I want to, but because I need to, because it's needed.
Yeah.
$1 billion so we can give away $400 or $500 million to the people that we want to bless in the mental health space. So we are going to do numbers, right? And so I got this chain on, bro, and it's mine. I literally just got it, but I'm giving it to you.
Bro, you don't have to do that.
No, because you are, bro. Like, you are, like, my favorite.
Bro,
I'm telling you, bro.
I really don't know what to say. I'm beyond honored because...
Wifey, can you put it on to him?
When I've
Miss Janelle. Another superstar. Put that on him. The I am chain, and hopefully we can get a close up. I don't know if we can get a close up on that, and we'll get the pictures, bro. But I'm taking it off my neck right now, and I'm giving that to you.
You know what's crazy? I took mine off to give to her, and I took my chain off to give to her this morning, and I usually don't like to give away my chains, but she wanted it, and I was like, you know what? She can have it,
bro.
And what's so crazy is because this is the reason I actually wanted to come on the show. I love when I see people who are able to have conversations, who are able to think outside the box. And when I first watched I Am Athlete, that's what I saw in the group and in you. But I know that I don't trust my knowledge. I don't trust my story with myself, with just anybody, because I don't know where they can take it.
Right.
But I knew that if I could get on here, I knew it would be safe.
Right. And you know what I heard, and you know this, we needed fucking 3 hours.
I told 3 hours.
We needed 3 hours to be continued. A conversation on I Am Athlete's platform presented by Paper Route, SiriusXM, Faction Talk Channel 103. Unbelievable conversation, and my favorite all time. And it's going to be hard for any athlete, any artist, or any man or woman to come on this platform and be the genius. That's what he is. Let's understand what we're witnessing. When we think about Serena Williams, we think about Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, we think about Tom Brady, we think about Patrick Mahomes. We need to put Noah Lyles in that same category. And so Noah, like, continue to push your agenda forward. What you need from the culture, what you need from us, we will show up, right? And we will support. That. Okay? So the link's below. We talked about the hat. That's where it starts. But we're going to see our brother start investing in his own events and his own products that's going to push track and field forward. And there's so many of us that come from these neighborhoods that need this to win. So thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for
subscribe,
having me.
watch. Love you.
Love, man.
Love, bro.
Love.
I am, bro.